What's up, y'all? We're back. Gonna be watching the NRG versus Weibo. We, not really sure how to say it. I'm gonna watch the live. Oh no. Okay, I didn't want to watch the videos because I didn't want to be spoiled as to how many games there were. But I guess we can't watch the live. And there's 3. Do NRG get 3-0'd? Oh no.
When there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
He hits his mark center stage and is crushed by a baby grand piano.
You're replacing me?
Customize and save with Liberty Bibbity.
It would be insane if NRG actually sweeps them. Hopefully that does happen, but
you've seen the changes that have come through from NRG. Now starting to bring out things like the Senator Kench. I think the mid junglers look spectacular for them. This is going to be a real test, but if there is a team that you can go up against, I think it is Weibo here. NRG have shown that they can contend with teams like G2, and Weibo, they have had their ups and downs, not only just at Worlds, but domestically as well.
Very, very close to this kicking off. Here we go. It's time to get into draft for the first game of the first quarterfinal of Worlds 2023. The bans are already coming through. It's Renata, Rumble, and Azir banned out by Energy, who are playing on the blue side in game 1. Weibo responding by banning out the Xayah and the Jarvan with 1 ban remaining.
I think one of the biggest factors for this series are going to be changes specifically to the bottom lane. And we were looking at the previous matchup between them. The Senna Tahm Kench emerging for Energy as another really powerful option for them to control that bottom lane is going to be paramount, because Weibo have recently looked their best when they have Weiwei tracking down towards that bottom lane and the bottom lane building a wave to go dive on and then playing off of a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has come from, okay, well, let's try and get Crisp onto something that he's comfortable on, right? We've kind of seen domestically, he hasn't looked as strong as some of the hook champions like the Nautilus and that kind of stuff. He's fallen back towards a Leona and Renata, and I feel like we're probably going to see the Leona come through again now with Renata take it away.
I love the shout out from Dokla. He said, after the last matchup versus Weibo, I realized my mistake. I'm not playing Ornn again, Mr. Shy. And they go for the Orianna pickup here since Azir is banned by their side. This has been premier pick of the tournament, so no real surprise here. Weibo, though, are going to jump on that bottom lane.
The first thing that stood out to me in Energy's bans was actually that Renata first ban. This pick has been very powerful. It's shown a lot of potential, specifically against Dive. And with Dokla talking about not wanting to be on Ornn duty, I'm curious what sort of aggressive options Energy are going to be going for as we work our way through this draft. But it is a first pick of Aphelios for Light on the side of Weibo.
And we talk about the adaptations we've seen from NRG. This is an adaptation from Weibo. When we look back to the series against Fnatic, it was that Aphelios that became such a big factor in that, trying to trade that back and forth, saying, hey, once Xayah is off the board, Aphelios feels like top dog. So already taking that one, now you've got the Rel as well that you can swap for Weiwei or for Crisp. It feels like Weibo are kind of falling back towards what worked for them against Fnatic. And now we'll have to see if we do get that Senna Tahm Kench as an answer to the Aphelios.
It's been so good for them. It is a classic FBI pick. We've talked to the coaches about it. They're so happy with him being able to inject that into the Energy meta here. And so I'm pretty confident in the double lock-in here.
You love seeing them locked in next to each other. It's pretty dangerous to pick one without the other. Very easy to ban that away in the second half if you don't. So with both sides having locked in potentially their bottom lanes, the Rel still having the flex opportunity. Let's see if Weibo does want to lock in their mid laner here. This Neeko was hovered a little bit earlier. If they don't lock in a mid lane pick, there could be more bans targeted towards Xiaohu in the second half of the draft. The timer runs out, and the Neeko gets locked in.
And Neeko is definitely a bit more of an early game and playmaking oriented mid lane pick here than the Orianna, which scales so well in setting up a lot of the teammates. And generally, when you pick the Neeko, you're going to want a jungler that is also very aggressive and can make moves off of those Neeko setups. So very curious to see here if Weiwei actually ends up holding on to the Rel or if they swap it to bottom.
Yeah, I think it will probably be the Rel going towards Weiwei, but I do agree. I think this is kind of the better pick for Xiaohu. It's like when you think of Xiaohu at his best in the mid lane, it's, hey, I'm going to try and control the pace of my lane and then start to lean into hovering towards top, hovering towards bot. He had some fantastic performances on things like the Tristana over the course of LPL this split, but this has been his traditional style, and I think this is where we're going to see how they can try and play through that strong mid jungle, especially with Orianna on the opposite side. It's not exactly a pick that screams we want to dominate in that mid jungle in 2v2.
And the Neeko is why Energy are banning away this Nocturne, because they're covering for, if the Rel does go over to support, you don't want to have to play against a Nocturne ultimate, turn out the lights, and then Neeko basically guaranteed double engage for the side of Weibo.
Exactly, and over on the other side, it's the Vi being banned away. Remember that in the game against G2, where we got to see Palafox on the Neeko, Contracts on the Vi, it was these two with a 1-2 punch that were constantly driving plays. They want to keep Contracts off of that one. The Gnar banned away from the Shy here.
And the Gnar is what he played into the K'Sante pick, so I was thinking that was a K'Sante kind of protection ban there with the Gnar, then Weibo just lock it in themselves. Early here for the shot.
I am really curious though what we get for Contracts, especially when you look at like Vi off the table, things like the Maokai gone. Maybe it is just a fallback to things like the Sejuani, try and play for this like non-committal engage. But I was gonna say I think Wukong would fit beautifully here. You set up them for super strong team fights. He gets the healing coming through off of things like the Senna, the Orianna ult is set up as well. I think that would work out fantastically, but maybe it's not gonna be the Wukong.
See, the clock has run out. What is the lock-in from the side of Energy? This is really lingering for an extra second.
Energy definitely at their best when Contracts is on a champion capable of making a lot of early plays, and so I actually kind of like this Viego pick. It is a champion that can fight Rift Herald really, really effectively, is very good duelist champion, and we'll see if that's going to be enough for their early game here, because Weibo, they lock it in again. Another range champion for Crisp in the bottom lane. That is now 6 in a row range champions for Weibo on the bottom side. The Melio going to be a big protection with that ultimate.
A big protection with the ultimate and powerful in lane with Aphelios. The amount of range you can get when Aphelios has Calibrum and he's enchanted by the extra range that Melio can offer can turn Aphelios' laning into a really impressive experience for the opponent.
It's also, you just get to get cheeky with it because you know you're not under much pressure on the opposite side, right? Zen and TK isn't going to go absolutely ham and try and like destroy you when they go for any of these plays. So you kind of get to go, right, I can play back, we can try and get control over this lane a little bit, and then open up the opportunity to try and play through this mid jungle and get the control that we want for Xiaohu in that mid lane.
Another interesting kind of synergy here is that Crisp and Weiwei both will have speed ups available to them, so they can both either use that on each other when Weiwei is going to gain their lane, or later stages they can use it on Xiaohu to make it easier, even easier for this Neeko to really get to the back line and get those perfect Neeko ultimates. You know, so much mobility here available to the team.
We got some good playmaking power on both sides. You know that Energy is going to be hungry for revenge against Weibo after that first matchup. You know that Weibo wants to keep that momentum rolling and do the exact same thing to the last remaining team from North America that they did when they faced them back in the Swiss stage. I can't wait as we're about to hit the Rift, my friends.
It's going to be an absolute banger. I'm so excited for this series. I think it's one that's been on a lot of people's minds as we're starting to get into it. It's just that it's the non
their way.
Everybody out there as we're waiting to get everything going with the minions not yet spawned. You can connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive Braum W emote. You've been seeing a lot of players spam those, so make sure to get your own. And we don't have anybody doing anything too peculiar here at level 1 in this first game.
And if we just set the table here in the quarterfinals for both of these teams, for Energy's side, again, they have had doubters all over them every step of the way, every bit of their journey here, and yet they have been able to overcome them. And the entire region is already so proud because this team has really given that hope back to the hopeless. It has given the faithful more pride as well. And now, with their most formidable opponent before them.
What's happening? Oh. Okay. Better Wi-Fi troubles than the